Hi guys, welcome back to another video in which we are going to be talking about keyboard and mouse shortcuts for Premiere Pro. Now, depending on what stage of editing you are at, whether you're a beginner or intermediate or even an advanced editor, you can always come back over here and revise these shortcuts, because it happens with me honestly, where I end up forgetting a lot of shortcuts because I have not used them in such a long time, and when a project comes that needs those shortcuts, I get slightly flimsy, right? So I will suggest that you go through all of these sections. Whether you're a beginner, I would assume that you'd want to understand the advanced, the intermediate and the advanced shortcuts as well. So no matter what stage of editor you are, advanced, intermediate or beginner, I would recommend that you go through the entire video, because what if you have forgotten certain shortcuts and that might come in very handy. So let's get started. Let's complete all of these shortcuts in 9 minutes. Level 1. The first one is of course to play and pause the video. You can do that by pressing space and stop that again by pressing space. So you can do that always to keep on playing or not playing the video. So that is space and then pause. You can choose to cut a clip and paste it at a different location by using the same cut copy paste command. So Control or Command X for cutting and Command V or Control V for pasting. You can also copy this from over here and then paste it over here as well. So that's always of the option. The next one is to zoom in and zoom out. So for that you have plus and minus. You can always zoom into the timeline with that. Now, if you want to move up or down in your timeline, basically in the beginning or the end, you can jump between the different points where a clip has started or ended. Just make sure you have all of these layers toggled selected. If you do not have, it will not move in that easily. But if you have all of these levels selected over here as well, and then you'll be able to move through different ins and outs of the layers over here as well. Now, some basic keyboard shortcuts. For mouse, you can press V to get the selection tool, P for the pen tool, and C for the eraser tool. Now these are the most useful tools that you might be using if you're creating a mask or if you're moving across layers up and down. There you go. That was level 1. Level 2. Now, if you want to delete a particular clip and move everything which is ahead of it slightly behind in timeline, you can do that by doing something called ripple delete. So if I just zoom in over here, and let's say if this is the clip that I would want to delete, and make sure that everything else gets pulled back by a certain amount. So for that you can hold shift and then press delete. If you press delete, this happens, but if you do the selection and then you press shift delete, everything else moves across in that timeline as well. Great. Now moving forward, you can also play and pause and even go back in time by pressing the J, K and L shortcuts. So if you press J, it will go behind. If you press L, it will go forward, and it can always be paused by pressing K. And press K. Similarly, forward, press K. If you want to do it slowly, that means if you are already playing it forward and then you want to, let me just mute this. If you're already playing it, you can also increase the speed or decrease the speed by pressing Shift L or Shift J. So if you're playing it like this, you can press Shift L to increase the speed, or you can press Shift J to decrease the speed. There you go. Pause. Okay. Now in case you want to zoom in into your video layers, you can hold Command or Control and then press plus or minus. That way you'll be able to zoom into your layers. If you're using a lot of layers with text, this might come in handy. And similarly, you can hold Alt and zoom in or zoom out from your audio layers over here as well. Now this comes in extremely handy when you're synchronizing layers. Okay. Whether you're in any panel in the entire effects, you can hold Command and W or Control and W to close that panel. Wherever you are in, if you want to import a new file, you can hold Control or Command I, and then that will open up this particular window from where you can import the content. A quick option to cut clips is going to be by pressing Command K when you're already selected a particular clip. So let's say if I do have this over here and I would want to snip this from here. So this gives a cut in the entire clip, and then I can choose to delete it or remove it. Another option for zooming in and zooming out, you can hold the backslash button to zoom into the entire frame or zoom in into the entire timeline. So that is an option. Press I or O to mark in and out, and these could be very handy if you're selecting or rendering certain parts of the video clip, or in the source monitor when you'd want to select only a certain part before moving forward. So something like this, you can press in and out, and then you can choose to drag that over here. Now if you want to add a marker, you can do that by pressing M. That creates a new marker. If you want to open up the settings while on the timeline, the playhead add the same marker, just double press M, and that way you'll be able to get up the marker option, then you can fill in the specific details. So let's call it something like this. If you have multiple markers like this in your timeline, you can jump between them by pressing Shift and M, or Command Shift and M, or Control Shift and M to move forward or backward. If you want to delete a marker, you can hold Alt or Option and press M. That will delete a particular marker. Now you might already know that you can create a bin by pressing this particular button over here, and that way you'll end up creating a new bin, and that's how it basically looks. But you can also select certain files and then put it all in the single bin by pressing Shift and B. So when I have selected, let's say, all of these 4 files, and then I press Shift and B, it will create a new bin with all of those files already put inside it. Saves about 5 seconds of your time, but it's worth it. Level 3. You can choose to nudge a particular layer ahead or later in timeline by pressing Shift and Command left or Command right. This does it by 5 frames. You can also choose to do it by single frame by letting go of Shift and then pressing just the Command and left or right keys. In Mac, you could jump through different panels by holding Control, Shift and period. You can jump forward or you can go backward by pressing the comma button instead. So if you have a particular layer open over here and you'd want to jump into the exact same frame in the source panel, then you can press F to bring it up and match the particular frame. Now if you have something selected in the source panel already and you'd want to move it into your timeline, you can choose to insert it by pressing the comma button, or you can choose to overwrite it over the existing files by pressing the period button. At any point in time, if you'd want to export a single frame, hold Shift and E. That will choose to export that particular frame. If you've already selected a particular clip, you can choose to change the speed or the duration by pressing Command or Control R. That opens up the speed / duration window for the clip. And at the end of the day, if you'd want to enable or disable a particular clip, you can hold Shift, Command and E to enable or disable a particular clip. Now let's quickly understand some mouse-based shortcuts. Now quickly for the mouse actions, let's understand I can hold Shift and scroll up or scroll down to move forward or backward in timeline. I can press Control or Command and then scroll in or scroll out by zooming in at the playhead. I can also choose to do this by holding Alt or Option on my keyboard. Now if I have my mouse pointer in this particular location, I can choose to hold Alt or Option and then scroll in to zoom in that particular track itself. This works both for audio and video. So Command or Control zooms in at the timeline or the playhead, while Alt or Option can zoom in at the mouse pointer location. So there you have it. Well, I hope you were able to catch all of these shortcuts. Now whether you're a beginner, intermediate or advanced, get back to Premiere Pro and start editing. Let's see if you can do that now quicker anymore. If you found this video useful, hit that like button, subscribe to Design Up and share this video with somebody who you think needs these shortcuts. I will see you in another video.